What if everything you thought you knew about one of history's most famous deaths was wrong? On August 30th, 30 BC, the most powerful woman in the ancient world died in her palace in Alexandria. But how she died, that's still a mystery. Over 2,000 years later, I'm talking about Cleopatra VII, the last pharaoh of Egypt. Hollywood shows us a dramatic scene. A beautiful queen holding a deadly snake to her chest, choosing death over capture. It's romantic, it's tragic, it's iconic. But here's the problem. It might not be true. Today, we're diving into one of history's greatest cold cases. Was it suicide? Was it murder? Or was it something completely different? Stick around, because the truth is way more complex than you think. Before we talk about her death, let's understand who Cleopatra really was. Born in 69 BC, Cleopatra was not actually Egyptian. She came from the Ptolemaic dynasty, a Greek family that ruled Egypt for nearly 300 years. But unlike her ancestors, Cleopatra actually learned to speak Egyptian. In fact, ancient historians say she spoke 9 languages. She wasn't just beautiful, she was brilliant. A master strategist, a skilled diplomat, and she knew how to survive in one of the most dangerous political environments in history. Here's something important to know about Cleopatra's family. They didn't do suicide. They did murder. Lots of it. Cleopatra herself probably had 2 of her own siblings killed to secure her power. This was a woman who fought to stay alive and in control. So why would someone like that suddenly give up? The mystery. What happened? Let's set the scene. The year is 31 BC. Cleopatra and her lover, the Roman general Mark Antony, are at war with Octavian, the man who would become Rome's first emperor, Augustus. They face each other at the Battle of Actium, a massive naval battle in the Mediterranean Sea, and Cleopatra and Antony lose. Badly. They escape to Alexandria, Egypt, but they know it's only a matter of time before Octavian comes for them. And he does. In August of 30 BC, Roman forces surround Alexandria. Now here's where things get dramatic. Mark Antony hears a false rumor that Cleopatra is dead. Devastated, he falls on his own sword, the Roman way of honorable suicide. But the rumor was wrong. Cleopatra is still alive. Antony is brought to her, dying, and takes his last breath in her arms. That's tragic enough. But what happens next is the real mystery. Cleopatra is now Octavian's prisoner. Ancient sources tell us Octavian had plans to parade her through the streets of Rome in chains, the ultimate humiliation for a queen who once dined with Julius Caesar himself. And then, just days later, Cleopatra is found dead in her mausoleum. 2 of her most loyal servants, Iris and Charmian, are dead beside her. But how did they die? The ancient Roman historian Plutarch, writing about 100 years later, admits something fascinating. The truth of the matter, no one knows. And that brings us to our question. What do you think happened? Keep that question in mind as we explore the theories. Theories and evidence. Theory 1. The snake bite. This is the famous one. The story goes like this. Cleopatra arranged for a servant to smuggle in a basket of figs. Hidden inside was an asp, a venomous Egyptian cobra. She held the snake to her breast, let it bite her, and died peacefully. It's poetic, right? The cobra was sacred to Isis, Cleopatra's favorite goddess. It was a symbol of Egyptian royalty. What a way to go! But here's the problem. Actually, there are several problems. First, size. Egyptian cobras can grow 5 to 8 feet long. That's a really big snake to hide in a fig basket. How did no one notice? Second, speed. Cobra venom doesn't work instantly like in the movies. According to modern toxicologists, death from cobra venom takes hours, and it's painful. Vomiting, paralysis, difficulty breathing, not exactly the peaceful death depicted in paintings. Third, the numbers. Remember, 2 of Cleopatra's servants died with her. Would one snake have enough venom to kill 3 people? Experts say that's highly unlikely. Often, snakes don't even inject venom in every bite. And fourth, control. Cleopatra was a master planner. Would she really trust her death to an unpredictable animal that might not even bite when she wanted? University of Manchester researchers studied this in 2015 and concluded it's unlikely a snake killed Cleopatra. So, if not a snake, then what? Theory 2. Poison. The smart choice. Here's what many historians now believe is the most likely explanation. Cleopatra poisoned herself, but not with a snake, with a carefully prepared poison. And here's the fascinating part. Cleopatra was an expert on poisons. Ancient sources tell us she spent years testing different poisons and venoms on condemned prisoners. She wanted to know which ones worked fastest, which were most painless, which were most reliable. That's pretty dark, but also very strategic for someone who knew she might need this knowledge one day. The ancient historian Strabo suggested 3 possibilities: a poisoned ointment applied to her skin, a toxic drink, a poisoned hairpin she pricked herself with. In 2010, German historian Christoph Schaefer proposed a specific recipe based on ancient Egyptian texts, a mixture of hemlock, wolfsbane, and opium. This combination would cause a relatively quick, painless death, much more fitting for someone like Cleopatra. This theory makes sense. It's reliable, it's controllable, and it could explain how all 3 women died around the same time. They all drank from the same cup or applied the same ointment. But wait, there's more. What if Cleopatra didn't choose this herself? What if someone else made the choice for her? Theory 3. Forced suicide. Let's talk about Octavian, the man who had everything to gain from Cleopatra's death. Octavian said publicly that Cleopatra committed suicide. But can we trust him? Think about his situation. He's just conquered Egypt. Cleopatra is his prisoner. But she's also a problem. If he executes her, he looks cruel. If he parades her through Rome and she survives, she could become a symbol of resistance. She could inspire rebellion. What if Octavian gave Cleopatra an ultimatum? Take your own life, or I'll kill your remaining children. Take your own life, and I'll let you be buried with Mark Antony. This theory suggests Cleopatra didn't really have a choice. It was forced suicide, murder with extra steps. Some historians point out that Cleopatra's young son, Caesarion, her child with Julius Caesar, was hunted down and murdered by Octavian's forces around the same time. Octavian wasn't taking chances with threats to his power. Theory 4. Straight-up murder. And now, the most controversial theory. What if Cleopatra didn't kill herself at all? What if she was murdered? Here's what makes this theory interesting. Almost all of our information about Cleopatra's death comes from Roman sources, from the people who conquered Egypt. Octavian had complete control over the narrative. Think about it. If you're Octavian and you've just had the Queen of Egypt assassinated, what story would you tell? Maybe that she committed suicide because she couldn't bear to live without victory. That story makes you look merciful. It makes her look weak. It's perfect propaganda. Some scholars point to the fact that 2 of her servants died with her. If it was really suicide, why would they also die? Unless they witnessed something they weren't supposed to witness. Criminal profiler Pat Brown wrote an entire book called The Murder of Cleopatra, History's Greatest Cold Case, arguing exactly this theory. But there's a problem with the murder theory too. The ancient historian Cassius Dio wrote that when Octavian learned of Cleopatra's death, he was furious. He felt robbed of the full splendor of his victory because he couldn't parade her through Rome. Would he be that angry if he ordered her death? Maybe that was also part of the act. What do you think? Drop your theory in the comments. Recent developments. So, has anything changed recently? Are we any closer to solving this mystery? Well, here's the thing. We've never found Cleopatra's tomb. Ancient sources say she was buried with Mark Antony near a temple of Isis in Alexandria. But Alexandria has been through earthquakes, tsunamis, and 2,000 years of construction. Much of the ancient city is now underwater or buried under modern buildings. But there's one archaeologist who hasn't given up, Dr. Kathleen Martinez. She's been searching for over 20 years, and she has a theory. She believes Cleopatra might be buried at a site called Taposiris Magna, about 30 miles west of Alexandria. In 2024 and 2025, her team made some exciting discoveries. They found evidence of an ancient submerged port from Cleopatra's time. They discovered coins with Cleopatra's face. They found tunnels beneath the temple that could lead to burial chambers. Now, to be clear, they haven't found the tomb yet, and even if they do find it, there's no guarantee it will tell us exactly how Cleopatra died. After 2,000 years, physical evidence of poison or injuries might be impossible to detect. But here's what's interesting. If Cleopatra's body was mummified, there might be clues. Poison can leave traces. Injuries can be seen. The way she was buried might tell us whether it was an honored suicide or a covered-up murder. Dr. Martinez believes 2025 could be the year. As of right now, the search continues. Conclusion. So, let's bring this all together. What do we know for sure? Cleopatra died on August 30th, 30 B.C. She was 39 years old. She died in her mausoleum in Alexandria. 2 of her servants died with her. Octavian was nearby and had strong reasons to want her dead. With her death, Egypt became a Roman province, and 3,000 years of pharaohs came to an end. What don't we know? Pretty much everything else. Was it the snake? Probably not. The evidence doesn't support it. Was it poison she chose herself? Maybe. She was an expert, and it would have been reliable. Was she forced or murdered? Possibly. Octavian had the motive and opportunity. Here's the truth. After more than 2,000 years, we may never know exactly what happened in that room. We're missing the most important piece of evidence, Cleopatra's body itself. But maybe that's fitting for someone who spent her entire life surrounded by mystery, intrigue, and power. Even in death, Cleopatra keeps her secrets. The woman who outsmarted Julius Caesar, who seduced Mark Antony, who spoke 9 languages and ruled one of the richest kingdoms on earth. The last Pharaoh of Egypt went out on her own terms. Or did she? That's for you to decide. All right, now it's your turn. I want to hear from you. Do you think Cleopatra committed suicide, or was she murdered? Leave your theory in the comments below. If you enjoyed this mystery, hit that like button and subscribe for more unsolved historical mysteries. We've got some mind-blowing topics coming up. And thanks for watching, and remember, history is full of mysteries waiting to be solved.